Y'all, infidels, we're back at the 1 o'clock hour. Engine number 9, rolling down the transit line. If my train goes off the track, pick it up. Back on the scene, it's the boys that light the fuse, infidels, crispy and clean, breaking down Fyter Fest Night 2 here, Hamin Media Group, the Chris Silvio, MSG, and Hacker Hamin. Light it up, YOLO! Yeah, man, doing it real big up here is Rocket Man, waiting for the next billionaire to join me on the space station. So right now, though, I got my cosmonauts. Nobody else. I'd rather have them working on the satellite feed. Hopefully they can fix goddamn Spectrum, which has been awful. But brutal Bob, man. But good to have my brothers back. MSG on back from vacation. Definitely a big set of shoes to fill production-wise around here, but glad he's back here to have all of our backs and produce as much as he can. And as great of a producer as he is, he's still not the El Sexico of this show. That title belongs to the Chris Silvio. Good to see you, my man.
Yes, only one of us can have the title of Dr. Sexy and DMT. I guess we're refreshed, we're revived. Both Maddie and myself returning from vacation. We're here, sexy talking, and ready to go over Fyter Fest Night 2.
Mm-hmm. Maddie, how you feeling, man? Recharge, refresh, get some. I saw you had looked like a hell of a seafood boil one night. That looked goddamn good. Eating them big Dungeness crabs you were in.
That's right, boys. You're hosting the scene of the year. It's clean. I'm lighting up that green. Yeah, boy, MSG. Yeah, it was great. I had some lobster. We had they went to this place called the Angry Crab Shack, and they had like a boil in a bag, Southern style. So they just put the potatoes and the corn and the lobster and the crab tails and the shrimp, and it was balling. And this hot sauce, it was delicious. Had some sushi.
Nice.
Some friends. We got drunk on a golf course. I've been waiting all week to share this with you. I haven't said it in the chat yet, but we went golfing and we were on the second hole. And, I think I laid it up onto the fringe, and I just walked up and I looked at my best friend in a jokingly fashion. I was like, yo, about to 2K21 this bitch and chip it in. And I walked up and I did indeed chip it in. So I was
pretty
for
Eagle? For Eagle?
No, just for par. I mean, just on the second hole was par 3. Yeah. So we were it was only my first time ever playing a full round of golf. I mean, I hit the ball at driving range. And so obviously I knew. And then it was going to be downhill, as I wasn't going to top that for the rest of the day. But hey, at least I got, some fun out of the way. And we got pretty sloshed on the golf course. The way they had it set up was about 9 holes, was in between neighborhoods. So
those are interesting. Yeah, we played that down in Florida. That's an interesting way to play.
It was fun, and probably screamed. Probably woke up some neighbors at 8:30 in the morning.
They're used to it.
Hanging out with the friends. We shot a short little film, I guess. I did that with my friends. And my buddy directed it, and he had already written it and wanted me to act in it and edit it for him. So we'll see how that turns out.
Oh, that's fun, man. At least you guys are spending time being creative together. Yeah, I don't want to Barry Horowitz myself too much, but I shot the best round I've ever shot at just 9 holes yesterday. Usually I'm in on a great day, 42, 43, about 7 or 8 over par. I was only 4 over. I hit 40. And what kills me though is I've had 7 attempts at birdies this summer, and I'm fucking 0 for 7 on all of them. I have 2 putt, all of them after phenomenal drives. It took me a long time to get good at this game, 5 years. But right now I'm fucking at 4 over par. I'm way happy with that on 9 holes because my handicap went from 21 to 19 to 13, and now I might be under 10. So it was it's the most frustrating and awesome game at the same time. But I'm glad you got out there, had some laughs. I always do with referee sideburns. Still, you golf at all?
No, dude. I don't know how after I met you in 2007, it's 2021. I had no idea you even had an interest in golf. Have you just been kayfabing this from the world? You don't strike me as a golfer.
Yeah, I mean, well, we just go out and we would, Smiths have a couple beers and do it. And back when I was a kid, in the 80s, there was a golf course that was 10 miles from my house, and it was like a big status thing. It was like the Caddyshack time, you know what I mean? your family's upper middle class, now it doesn't matter. You can play there for $20. It used to be a $2,000 fucking family, fee to go there. So like now we're just pirates and we go all over. We get the fucking coupon books for buy one, get one. And we just hit every place we can. But the last 4 or 5 years, referee Sideburns and I started playing more and more, and now we get serious. Like we played 3 times this week. Now the wives are away. So I
just figured it out. The USB fader on the board.
It
was all the way down.
Was all the way down.
Yeah, you can hear us.
Producer of the year, Matt Shaffer.
It's been 8 days.
Now that you figured it out, go ahead and turn your mic up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Hamin MSPGA over here fucking turned into that Tiger Woods game.
Yeah, man. I just had a really good day. Like used to be, I'd drive and kill it, whatever, 240. And we also play with Triple D from Dippin' Donuts, a couple of our buddies, Modi and whatnot. But if I could hit 2 drives and 9 holes straight off the tee and not, shanking or fucking topping the ball, I'd be pumped. I hit 7 out of 9, and the 2 shitty ones yesterday were still in the fairway. It just topped them a little bit. And so, that the improvement level of the last 2 years has just really gone through the roof. And when we're wintertime locked down, so Rach got me for wife number 1 for Christmas, one of those putting greens. So I leave it over at Sideburns, and we just have putting competitions. So we work on our putting game during the wintertime inside during Raw while wrestling sucks. So we have fun.
So often.
Yeah, all the time. So
other than being a big fan of Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore, I do have a golf experience that I'd like to share with you gents today. This takes place around the year 1995. My older brother Russ, who was a teenager, had gotten into golfing. I would have been, 11-ish, 12. He was supposed to be outside practicing baseball with me. We had a pitching mound. We all played baseball. We had a pitching mound. We were like supposed to be pitching and like batting, playing baseball. He gets this bright idea. He's going to teach me hand-eye coordination to hit the baseball better by driving golf balls, which I'd never done before. So he lines a couple up on the tee. We had like an acre in our backyard, plenty of room. Launches a couple, gives me the fucking driver, tells me to go up there. I swing, I hit the ball, and on the back swing, he's standing too close to me. I fucking crack him in the head. He's gushing blood. He had just gotten new sneakers at the start of the school year, as one does. And my brother, who's even got a higher pain tolerance than I do, he's like, dude, take my shoes off. I can't get blood on my new shoes. So I take his fucking shoes off, hold the towel to his head, and we fucking drive him to the ER. That was my introduction to golf.
That's a great injury. I like that one.
I'll get my shoes dirty.
You seen the guy who can hit the golf balls one-handed by throwing them up in the air?
No.
Yeah. No, this kid's even, he's got Hennig beat. There's no doubt about that. For just to bring this up here. One-handed golf swing. He's got to come right up. Yeah, here we go. This fucking guy's unbelievable. Watch this shit. He can do it like that off the tee, just swinging over his head, or he can fucking like this video goes on and on. Like he does unbelievable shots. He just fucking walks up and drills it 260 yards, one arm, bro.
Wow,
that's insane.
That's crazy.
He breaks down his swing over his head. See ya, dude. I never seen nobody hit a golf ball like that. And in this video, he just put in one arm golf swing. They ask him if he can do it two-handed. Like, yeah, he usually doesn't. He just started the other way. Like, let me try this with a whip over his head and down. And dude, it's unbelievable, the accuracy. He was hitting 10 out of 10 right in the same spot where he wanted to put it. I was like, holy shit, that could be a whole new like take on the game, like revolutionize the game. You get some of these pros just to start practicing that. What couldn't they do? You know,
like the dunk.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So that's what happens as the game evolves. I don't know if I'll be doing that swing anytime soon. I might try it with an old driver, but somebody might be getting bloodied at the driving range, so you better stand the fuck back.
Maddie, have you seen Hot Golf Girl on YouTube? I think it's called Golf Shorts is the page.
No.
It's this very attractive woman with a great physique that is good at golf, and she routinely takes these short, like 15, 20-second videos of her driving a ball or scantily clad or with very tight leggings or driving the golf cart around. I highly recommend checking that out on YouTube.
Nice.
Free plug for Hot Golf Girl.
I'm sure she'll enjoy that.
Nice.
The flood of new wrestling fans observing her content. As we all know, wrestling fans are the best fans. So.
She knows what she's doing. That's what she wants.
Oh, for certain.
Man. But I don't know about Fyter Fest night 2 if they know what they're doing. We're talking about getting color earlier. Plenty of color in the main event. Some hardcore stuff. Good and bad first hour of this show was but I know they were up over 1 million for Fyter Fest night 1, so hats off to them. And then from what I just saw with a Tony Khan go home promo after Fyter Fest night 2, where they're then going to tape Elevation, and the crowd may or may not stick around, and he's cutting one of his classic incoherent on the spectrum.
You guys need to stick around.
It's bad. It's real bad.
Maddie, that's a pretty good Tony Khan.
A little bit too good.
9 days.
Yeah. So we're Pat.
Hold on, Hamin. You dish out info all the time without context. Was this like on social media or something? The show ended on Archer.
Yeah, right. So this is the in-between fan cam where he comes out and talks about Dark Elevation that they don't have. Like, first he puts over some other shit that, like, in 9 days of where they're going or da-da-da. And then talks about, we don't have a performance center. Well, we let them perform right here on Dark
Elevation. Performance center right here on AEW Dark.
It just comes off like, why are you taking shots at NXT without saying it in this promo? That's not, it's like an in-between thing. It's like something triggered him 4 hours ago and he's been sitting on it and like, I'm gonna wait till I get the line in on him here. And he goes out in his mind, he's going to be a fucking genius. And it just comes off as like, It's so bad, bro. It's like somebody needs to have, you ever see when the mom's got the backpack with the kid with the fucking leash on it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he needs. Like somebody just and fucking pull him right backstage as soon as that.
Even strap him to,
even if he's like, I'm going out to cut the promo, legs come out from underneath him. I'd probably put him on Hobbs. I don't think, that's a big anchor to toe.
That's a good one. I'd strap him to Miro because I have a feeling Miro, like, although I'm sure he wants to protect his job, would tell his boss to fuck off if he felt the need to.
That's a good one too. So weird shit and whatnot. Rick Vickery in the brand fan group where they were talking about it Russo style to get ribs in, but he had actually typed out a pretty decent promo about how if he wanted to do that, to come out and say, we select the top indie talent. We don't want to have a performance center that takes away from people having schools and those guys getting to train and work the indies. Seidel Dojo to Booker T's to Wrestle Pro, and could have named all of them and gotten him in, like, and that's why we don't, but we appreciate all those schools and we want people to be trained the right way. None of that's in there. Like, as a businessman, it's like, we don't have a performance center. They perform here on TV. Oh boy.
They would only put over the Nightmare Factory and whatever Dustin's thing in Texas is anyway. I don't think they would ever
Wrestle Pro.
All the other schools.
They're down with. They got fucking Stratlander from there. They got a couple others, but that's how a businessman and a real promoter looks at it, as opposed to someone who's obviously got a lot of issues and should not be in a position of top power by any means.
That's interesting you say that too, because I noticed the crowd last night. It was a roller coaster. I noticed the crowd starting to tire by the Orange Cassidy Blade match.
Yep. And
then everything we got in the main event, I guarantee that took everyone's energy, like, to get through that match and react to it. And, the crowd was good for it. They had to be fucking done after that. So to now go ahead and have the promo and then tape a bunch of darks, which the darks are not too good, man. It's a lot of quick squash matches and you get 1 or 2 decent contests.
That's not how you book a show. That goes to show me that. Plus, they probably did stuff before TV too.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we're at the lowest level of indie booker. I've been on these shows that are 3.5, 4 hours long. The booker thinks he's doing some great favors for people and everyone's patting him on the back. Thanks for the booking, Briz, as they pick his pockets, when he doesn't know that he could keep half of those envelopes by cutting the show in half and really make it half short and twice strong. So this is the exact same as like the lowest level indie Mark Booker, who's just booking tons and tons. Even the dark stuff is like 15 matches, 17 matches. Nope. You just killed. What a booker does is take the crowd on a whole experience and sends them home happy or wanting to pay a ticket to, again, for that experience, not fatigue and being a clap monkey for, we got to get this go. Oh my God. And go in between it all, dude. Like there's no vision. Even at OVW, if we were going to do a 2-hour show or hour TV taping, two pre-show matches, go on to TV for an hour, then guys we couldn't have on TV, like a CM Punk or a Deuce and Domino along those lines, would be in a 6-person tag against the top heels, a Mike Cruel and whoever else, you know what I mean? Team America or something. And before they went on TV, to send the crowd home, if we ended with heat on TV, just send them home happy with one shitty 6. With a fucking shotgun finish and wah, boom, and we do it, and that's it.
Well, as it evolved too, it turned into other matches. We would do a main event dark, is what we started calling it after TV at OVW every week. Sometimes it'd be a championship match, but it would always feature the top guys. So they could have got away with doing the same thing. Like instead of shooting all of Dark Elevation, shoot the main event. You know, whatever it is, put Christian Cage in there versus fucking, you know, whoever, Luchasaurus or Daniels or Kazarian, you know, send them home happy. Christian wins, yay.
Exactly. You've given them so much. They don't know that it's everyone just like is fatigue. And then you look at the crowd we just got crowds back last Friday, but we've already jumped the shark. Wednesday last week was hot. Friday was hot. Money in the Bank started to calm down a little bit. Still hot. Raw killed them. NXT terrible because of the business they did on Raw to punish Cross, and now this first hour.
I thought the first hour was good on this show.
I disagree. I think this first hour was a real problem. After I think they emptied too many bullets on night 1, and the first hour of the show didn't have the draw power needed.
So I think there's some good things I wanted to talk about here today. The internet is on fire with the reports that apparently CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, so we're talking about indie booking, are going to be joining potentially here at AEW. They say that Daniel Bryan is all but a lock, according to bodyslam.net, and CM Punk is apparently training for an in-ring return, and I believe All Out is in Chicago, which is where it's sold out as well. So, do you buy any of these rumors?
Punk looks good. I saw pictures of him from the heel show, so he's in shape.
Nice. Okay.
It's hard to say with Punk because he's been rumored to come back so many times since 2014. You know, it's already been 7 years at this point.
I had read earlier this morning that WWE is already talking to him to try and make a counteroffer because they don't want to see Punk show up on there. So it's happening one way or another, him coming back.
What would he do? Would it be they bring him in for a big payday at the pay-per-view in Chicago, or they try to sign him to a multi-year deal? Like what's the
I think I'd try and sign him to a multi-year deal. That'd be the best thing to do. But I think he's smart enough to want 6, things a year, and he'll do 1 or 2 other events for you if need be in Japan or whatever the fucking thing is to help promote. But you know what he wants? He wants to work Cody. He wants to work Mox and fucking and Omega. Like that's it, right? Like you do 6 matches plus they get him for 16, right? 16 performances, 10 on the mic, 6 in ring. I think that's what I'd be shooting for $2 million if I was him.
I'd like to see Punk versus Hangman. That'd be great. I think that'd be a good match.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll elevate Hangman to that point by that time, though.
Well, I mean, isn't that the kind of the build they're on right now? So I mean, we'll see, right?
Right.
We can get into that here. So, and then there's also the reports that The Rock is going to be coming back, of course, to WWE. As that seems to be ramping up here on the internet. Just some interesting plays by both WWE and AEW as they head into the holiday season with crowds returning. I will say I did watch Money in the Bank, and
hey, fucking do DWIs and fucking Rob Banks get in the main event. That's what I'm talking about, boys.
Yep.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
I'm going to try and do some human trafficking and move some cocaine later and get caught. I fucking can't wait to be world champ.
I did. I mean, I tweeted out my thoughts initially, and it was just like, I find it appalling that they can't even put this guy in rehab, take him off TV for a week or two, get this guy something, and then be like, bro, you can't drive anymore. So here's a company car, Roman Reigns. I mean, if you're just going to do it that way, put this guy in an Uber or put it on his dime, take it out of his paycheck if you really need to keep him on TV. But that guy, there needs to be something from a PR standpoint that says WWE tried, but everyone continues to make the argument, well, WWE is not a typical sport, or WWE is not, you know, if you got a DUI at your job, you would be able to go back to work the next day and there wouldn't be any recourse. But, you know, I'm also not a public figure. Like,
depends on your job.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a driver.
Right. If you're a driver, well, I'm just saying, if you're a sales guy and you're working at a sales office and you get a DUI, you're going to, I mean, I know tons of guys did that. Right. So, but I think it also depends on from PR standpoint, because if I was big enough in that sales company to where if I showed up on the news drunk enough, I probably would be let go because that would look bad for them. So it's just interesting that they haven't even publicly addressed it, or at least tried to make notion that they have some sort of caring sentiment for.
Because you're not over enough on the news. If you were the top guy,
yeah,
and you did it well, we looked and the heat on the fans too. Where were they?
Right.
When they brought him out for the pre-show and went over, there was no ECWS, DUI, none of that shit. All the fans are like, ooh, this is cringy, but we're back in the arena, so we won't put it over and we'll be complacent, everybody. Fuck off.
Well, from the human standpoint too, you know, he's been there for what, 9 years now, 10 years. He's part of the Samoan dynasty, so his family ties back to Vince for fucking decades. You would think at least on the human standpoint, they'd be able to, someone in the company, Triple H, fucking Vince, whoever, at least one person would be able to be like, man, I just want dude to be okay. Talk to him like, clearly something's going wrong in your life, man. Let's get you fixed up.
They don't care about that. What did they do with his wife? Traded her to come over so she can be his babysitter. They don't want to fucking give a shit about any of the horses. We can put these labels of Samoan dynasty or whatever on them, and it goes back. They'll put a bullet in his head. The only reason he's not out is because The Rock is coming back and they need him in the storyline, not because they care.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with that.
They're too much invested, they feel like, financially, to like try to, you know, change any recourse.
I hope brother is all right, because if you're making those kind of decisions when you know after being on the shelf for a year for injury and whatever else, you come back and you're in the main storyline and that you're going to risk it for a biscuit thinking you're going to get over with a 0.205 live fucking DUI breathalyzer test. Just the fact that you're going to even risk that means that you're self-sabotaging. You probably have issues that you need to get that blitzkrieged, even though it is July 4th, and that the people around you aren't being like, hey, bro, chill with that. You got too much riding on you to do that. Just call and it's not like it's 1995 anymore. It's 2021. You got to do one thing on the app and you're already a millionaire. Probably. You're telling me a $117 ride isn't worth the insurance policy on your third fucking strike. You're not thinking right. I got big problems. I got problems with that. He's got problems as a man. He's got problems that he doesn't have the foresight to see everything that's going on, that all the weight of the world of Roman Reigns, who's done the work to finally get there. And now The Rock's coming back to fucking get us all. And we're about to make our lineage, like, to risk that, bro. Nah, I'm
tells
good.
You that something's wrong.
Yeah, man.
And he has family. It was in his hometown. You know, he's got family there. He's got his wife there, his twin brother. He certainly could have called a ride. He's got money for Uber, but at minimum, I'm sure any member of that tight-knit family, including his spouse, would have came and got him. So it just says to me, I feel bad. I wouldn't fire the dude. I'd send him to rehab.
Yeah, no, dude.
Some kind of counseling.
The whole thing should be part of the story.
Right.
The whole, that's where you blur the lines of reality. That's where it should be TMZ controversy. We should see Roman not congratulating him like, oh, dude, sorry, your dog just died. That's what it felt like, as opposed to like, what are you thinking? You're not thinking is what you're not. And you're going to do what I say. And you're going to go over to Beaver Meadows fucking rehab facility and for the next 12 weeks. And you're going to get your shit together. You know what I mean? All that kind of like to see him affected, to see him waiting to get officed. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's going to be cringy, but that's what makes good TV, not the cringiness of the crowd going, should we say anything? No, we're back here. We don't want to get like, dude, bad. That's just bad. That's just bad humanity, bad morality.
You're a Sopranos guy, so I think you would do this.
That's what that's what I'm going to steal that from Christopher. Yeah.
Tony fucking telling Christopher to get his shit together. That's it right
Tony said Patsy's going to be staying right down the highway at the hotel a mile away. If you need anything at all, you just let him know. So you're not going to step out of line. So that's the sort of Damocles that you're going to get a fucking slug in the back of your head if you even screw up once. There's none of that in this story for him. That's the entire weight of it. And then we get to a point of temptation where somebody tries to do something with alcohol or that, and he has to come to a fork in the road. And what does Christopher do? Goes back on heroin and ends up dead. That's a real story, not no to the booze, which they could do in wrestling. They could do the redemption story and do the I helped you, brother, and hopefully it would, but a tragedy sells far more tickets, my friend. And we're not even telling that story. We're telling some weirdo. And everybody put your hands over your eyes. You know what I mean? Bad.
Last bit of news before moving on to the results here of getting to AEW Dynamite. Keira Hogan announces her departure from Impact Wrestling.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it just came out. It says Hogan made an announcement on her OnlyFans page this week telling fans that she worked Impact in Nashville, and it will mark the last one with her company. Quote, "What up, babies? I'm in Nashville for tapings, and you guys will be the first to know that this is my last Impact tapings, and I'm going to see what else is out there for me. I'm so excited and scared, but I know whatever I choose to do, I'm going to be the best, and that's on, period. T," Hogan wrote. Of course, she won't be leaving your screens immediately, as she's still scheduled to be on television, starting with a tag team championship match on the July 22nd episode. I guess spoiler alert here, as Fire and Flava defended the Knockouts titles and lost to Rosemary and Havoc on the pre-show of Slammiversary. And for those unaware, Hogan was first signed with Impact in late 2017 and made her first on-air appearance in February of 2018. Impact Wrestling, losing a pretty, I think, hot commodity. I like Keira Hogan. I mean, I know.
Yeah, she's got NXT written all over. I can't see WWE or AEW going after her when they've already got similar characters they're not using. You know what I mean? But Keira Hogan has become a very great property at Impact. Like, she really used Impact to get her name out there to the next level, to jump onto the Cardi B, Sweetie, Megan Thee Stallion kind of thing a little bit. Even a little bit of Orange is the New Black in the beginning of that kind of. I think she's got money on her. I was trying to think, I don't just want to go black stereotypes, but like the girl who's with Hit Row is good, but could we have Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion type in the same clique and put her with Hit Row? I think she might be able to fit in there. And those two girls may end up tagging together, and the other girl's much more green than Keira Hogan, and now she can get a little bit better and do something along those lines. I'm just spitballing here, but that's where I'd see her fit in.
She's going to AEW, bro. They need seasoned talent. It's a similar schedule to Impact, a little bit more. That's where I see her ending up.
Really? You have inside knowledge on that or no?
Nope. That's just my gut.
Sonic the Hedgerat says she was Booker T trainee, so that's why I'm also thinking WWE, to be honest with you.
Possibility. I would say that either way, I think we should do a recurring segment on the show of Maddie reading her tweets.
I think so. Maddie as Keira Hogan was much better than listening to Tony Khan.
All right, well, let's get into AEW results here, as this was AEW Dynamite's Fyter Fest Night 2 tonight, or last night when this was airing. It was, of course, headlined by Britt Baker defending the AEW Women's Championship against Nyla Rose, and a rematch between Jon Moxley battling Lance Archer in a Texas death match for the IWGP title. So night 2 starts off with Jericho coming out, as we learned over the last, 2 weeks ago, Jericho, for him to face MJF, he must do so in a Labors of Jericho style, can't say gauntlet because it's not one after another, but series of matches against members of the Pinnacle and or MJF's choosing. As we'll find out later on tonight that another, I guess you might say, hardcore deathmatch individual showed up here to be Jericho's second labor of love. And the first one, though, he's taking on Shawn Spears, the chairman. These guys went back and forth. I thought that, that the chairman himself, Spears, used the chair really well throughout the match, trying to make it use of a weapon, Jericho having to avoid it, but ultimately being able to use it in a way that didn't get him disqualified in the end by throwing Spears into the corner, hitting the Judas Fact, and then pinning him. So, as well as he did get him to tap out, but there was a distraction from Tully there, and Sammy Guevara came out kind of threatening Tully Blanchard. But I thought this was a traditional style of wrestling match. Wasn't too crazy as far as moves concerned. They seemed to tell a good story they were trying to tell here in the match itself. That Shawn Spears are trying to dominate it with the chair, and Jericho here is just trying to survive with his broken arm. I mean, did I read that right, Silvio?
Yeah, this was awesome. This was a great fucking opener, and the crowd was hot for this match.
Yeah.
Jericho could do no wrong. And I got to give him credit. He fucking busted his ass. He worked his ass off. He hit that run off the top rope, was bumping his ass off, took Shawn Spears' Death Valley Driver like $1 million. And I agree with you. They paced it well, kind of traditional, but doing enough new school moves to appease the OVW style, and the live crowd clearly loved it. Spears getting some more TV time. I still think he's miscast himself a little bit, as Spears would probably be better off being a Jericho-esque style heel than he is being the crazy one, because Spears is so fucking entertaining. I think he'll pull that off much better. But the match was good. It reminded me of Monday Nitro, when Nitro was hot and fucking selling out. That's what it felt like watching this.
Ben, what do you think?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I like both these guys. Obviously, I think they're phenomenal. I feel bad though. I was talking like here, it's going to come out, and it's not like I'm any body guy to be judging anybody with my fucking gyno and fucking gut and hairy body. But Jericho looks like old retired rock star. He looks like how Kevin Sullivan was in those early or those late WCW days, and they're going to come at him, and that's going to outshine the work and the story that it's Jericho's looking rough, and whether that's too much Grey Goose and age and whatever, not being on the Florida water like everybody else is, then so be it. But I'd like to see him be as healthy as possible. He just seems a bit haggard. I'll leave it at that.
And not for nothing, I think MJF did a good job of kind of poking at him here. He was, phenomenal on commentary, whether it be calling out Jericho for the dad bod, or saying, what do you call a hot girl in Texas, a tourist, and that pot JR, him being an Oklahoma Sooner guy. I know that got him. That was pretty funny. I could hear him in the background.
Gully Blanchard there, Spears entertaining, LOL. Dude, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, just because you guys haven't got to see what he can do. He's been in this business for 15 years, being on the sidelines. Well, sidelines for 12 years. All the perfect 10 stuff and all that with the crowd. He made that up. He got that over. And that's why they bury it, because they didn't come up with it. It got over. Oh, well, fuck that, then. We can't allow that. And then the X amount of TK restarts with, 9 more days. He doesn't know what he's doing. But Spears is going to go along to get along, especially when his wife got canned and he knows he's got to be the income earner. He's a man's man. Dude, if you can go back and watch the OVW stuff where Al wrote it for him and Cody, at age 22, 23, he got it. He knew what he was doing, and he could tell incredible stories. It's all failure of WWE and AEW to not use Shawn Spears properly. I don't want to say it's Sean Spears' failure for not sticking up for his own business, because he knows when to pick and choose his fucking fights. That's why Perfect 10 stuff got on TV, but didn't get to like die on the vine or you're fired. He kept going, to reinvent himself. So he's a worker's worker, man. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him or his in-ring work. One thing that was terrible in this match was the 10 phony punches in the corner.
Yeah, he should have just did the Rana.
Yeah. It was shit-tastic. Bad camera angle to expose them, and then these guys trying to protect themselves, much like last week with the stupid-ass Japanese hardcore no-sell forearms from fucking Machine Gun and who was it? Moxley, where there's a quarter inch of air in between them and neither are selling. So it's just like, we're backyard phony. And unfortunately, that was backyard phony from Jericho and Ty Dillinger. So, y'all.
Well, you can't, which is sad too, because Jericho was doing some impressive athletic shit.
But that's all it takes.
One fundamental part that he's probably thrown hundreds of thousands of work punches. He's a little winded. He's up there and doesn't realize that
he was blown a couple times during this, bro. Yeah. Not that I wouldn't have been, but golf.
Brother just needs to get his diet back on track.
Yeah, I agree. But I just, maybe it is too much rock and roll and Grey Goose at an older age, man. Maybe it's time to go DDP, full keto, whatever you got to do, man. I want him to be the best he can be. They need him. That's for sure.
I think that following this match, we had the next setup for the Labor of Love, and I found it to be interesting. As I was going to say, I did kind of make a point. I believe it was almost about 3 or 4 weeks ago when the Nick F. Engage Vice thing came out. I said they should bring him in to do something with Moxley and Kingston versus the Elite. Is that would have made sense then? But now we've got Nick F. Engage being brought in, I'm assuming, by getting paid by MJF to take on Chris Jericho. So that tells me the next week they're going to really bleed to some extent. I know that Nick Gage is not going to like fuck up his spot against Chris Jericho and like really mess.
I would say this though too, even though it's a baby,
it's going to get barbaric.
Yeah, well, yeah, but not in the babyface heel thing because Jericho's the face. Which shouldn't this whole thing be the other way around, where Jericho is the taskmaster? And the young guys got to go take the bumps, not the old fucking horse that's already beat to shit. Like they have to call. And now Jericho's like, okay, I'll go do a fucking death match with Nick Gage. Like, oof, bro. Like he's the one who's got to take all this shit while these young boys stay pretty on the sidelines. That pops me, man. And I'm like, we're doing something backwards here.
Jericho will probably get some color in the match, but Gage is going to be the one. Anything crazy, Gage is going to do. Jericho will take a couple of good big bumps, but I don't think we're seeing Jericho getting fucking apron power bombed with barbed wire wrapped around him. We ain't going to see anything like that. It's possible. I feel a little weird though about the Nick Gage thing. I'm all about a redemption story and people turning their lives around. I don't believe you hold one mistake against someone forever. They should be able to acclimate into society and do the right thing. But it's just a little weird. Like, he's got the deathmatch reputation, which isn't exactly like mainstream TV kind of stuff. And then we had the bank robbery thing. It felt a little weird that they were putting him on. I'm not quite sure why they're doing it, and if this is a one-off. I understand they're doing it because of the dark side of the ring, but if you listen to the crowd, it sounded to me like a lot of people really weren't too sure who he was.
Yeah, they're not. It's all inside Mark stuff for the dark side of the ring, and because he's Moxley's boy, he's not over. And when you see him, then that was the best Jericho had looked when he walked out. Because you're like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing to mark out for CZW, cut a guy with a pizza because you don't want to work, but you want it because in your Chris Van Vliet interview, you were like, no, I wanted to be a technical wrestler like Daniel Bryan, but I do this instead. Like, dude, that's for 12% of this crowd, and now we're going to cater the whole show to that of people who don't know, and maybe it'll be a banger and whatnot, but this is all a buddy favor. This is all get your friends a job, every bit of it.
Did this feel out of place at all to you, Matt, when he came out?
It felt out of place that it was MJF, that he was paired with MJF. Yeah, it just because like Nick F. Engage and his whole MDK persona, I guess for those who follow, at least what I picked up from the Vice documentary is he seems to kind of carry his profile as a I do what I want when I want kind of guy. Like Nick Gage wouldn't be the kind of guy that would sell out to work for someone like MJF. He would beat his ass and take his fucking money and then take you to the ring and tell everyone about it, right? Or with his crew. So it did feel a little out of place as far as the pairing. Good for Nick Gage, though. Getting a payday, I guess. I'm sure he needs it. All those injuries he's got.
Is he a good promo? I can't recall hearing too many of his promos.
I mean, they're okay. I'd say they're not bad. I think he's got a good connection with the fans as far as in that hardcore death scene, the deathmatch type scene. So he's a kind of a cult-like figure to them for sure, I'd say. Conspiracy Horseman has been on me and showing us a brand new graphic.
Nice.
It's comic book style.
Street Fighter style.
Street Fighter style, baby.
Yeah, Street Fighter, yeah.
Man, I would not want to get punched by Sal.
No, Jesus Christ. He looks like fucking Zangief there. I don't want that.
I've been punched by Sal before.
Oh, boy. Match 2. After we go to break, we got there's a Miro promo. I guess while I was gone, Miro changed his title. Yeah, he changed it to like a white belt with like a green stripe over it, saying champion. I thought it looked cool. Worked well with his whole wanting to be godlike persona, even though he's a heel. So I like it. But he cuts a promo, talks about how no one can basically beat him, that there's no one. He said there will be no champion after him. He's going to be the final champion. He will be the longest reigning, an ultimate TNT champion. Who do you think they got to bring in? I mean, what do they got to do? Who takes out Miro? Silvio, how do you? I mean, because it's something you got to get. Somebody got to chase him, right? I mean, who's his next viable competitor?
You could build up Brian Cage for that role. Maybe a fluke win for Jungle Boy, something like that. So there are ways to do it.
Luchasaurus, maybe, if they wanted to break him off or do something, or is he too campy in character?
He's too cartoony.
Oh, dude. What is he? What is he right now?
Luchasaurus or
no?
He's Jungle Boy's
Miro.
Oh, Miro's the fucking Redeemer.
The Redeemer, the Jesus, the fucking God Squad. Who's the evil Satan?
The Dark Order, I guess. Somebody in the Dark Order.
MJF.
Cole Cabana.
Just showed up last week.
I missed AEW. Sorry.
Oh, Aleister Black.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that guy. Yes.
You keep him strong for 6 months while we get Aleister Black building into that Satan versus the Redeemer, and we have the big showdown.
I think you move Miro into as soon as he's done with this, you got to move him up into the heavyweight title picture. And he eventually, I think he should be the champion. I love everything he's doing now. I like his promos. The video package yesterday was pretty good. Just the only thing is like when they pitched to it, they said something like, find out like what Miro's going to do next with the title. It was giving me the impression they were going to tell me who his next challenger was.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. But then I feel like we didn't know any more than we had when we started.
We got nothing. That's why I was like, man, who's the next viable character? Well, match 2 up next. We have Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson coming out with their brand new spanking. They just won from Finn Juice Impact Tag Team Championships versus the Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian. So the bell rang.
Hamin didn't like this one.
They explained some hard.
I was looking forward to it, and it didn't do it. This was a ton of shit business afterwards, and like the match wasn't that great, and the finish it killed the Elite Hunter gimmick right in the pocket, bro. When this should have been distraction, whatever, turn, get sniped by the Elite Hunter and fucking goes over on Gallows. Instead, Gallows up, they hold him in the fucking head, and they get Omega comes down and gets his shit in on fucking Kazarian. So the Hunter got killed by the boar in the very first hunt.
Yeah, so the bell rang. Kaz and Doc exchanged some hard chops back and forth. We saw a drop kick, a big boot down. Doc decked him in the corner, jabs, slammed him to the opposite side. Then he got sent to the outside, and we went to break. Came back from break. The match didn't last much longer as they were in a headlock. And Doc missed a couple strikes. Kaz collided with them, belly to belly. For there was, I guess, some Frankie chants, and then Kaz went for the crossface chicken wing before Anderson meddled in the match, and then Gallows hit the bomb finisher to get the 3 count. So your winner was Doc Gallows. You mentioned their post-match. Good Brothers hit a magic killer on Kaz as Omega and Callis walk on the stage. Callis wants all these cowboys in Texas to watch what happens when you mess with the elite. Candy tells Kaz to welcome to his humble abode. For months, he's been a thorn in their side. The elite hunter has now become the elite hunted. Suddenly out comes Hangman Page with the beer in his hand. Cowboy shit as the crowd starts. Don gets on the mic. He says, it's 4-on-1. Is he just stupid or just drunk?
Oh, this was so bad, bro. What a waste of
the numbers game got him, and the Dark Order came out and makes us
talk shit right here, bro. This is where the first hour is terrible. Terrible, dude. And you feel the crowd like go, oh. That's what that was. Every ratchet it was. We're supposed to go up the ladder, not sideways, back down. Like that was how the trip they took him on with all this overbooked bullshit and the Carney, Don Callis. Maybe he's just drunk. Dude, we're playing backyard wrestler at this point. This is not a real wrestling organization when you've hired guys, and that's the best you can do. That's the best you're going to come up with as a rib on the old trope when you have a chance to actually do something that's going to be meaningful. That's not going to make any highlight reel. That's not going to sell one ticket. That's not going to get any heat whatsoever. That's some waka bullshit time filler. That's terrible, bro.
Kenny Omega's promos, and this is no disrespect to him as a wrestler, but that promo last night, it felt like an RPG video game promo that I would have read in the late 90s via text or something.
When I say this isn't wrestling, it's an imitation. That's exactly what I mean, bro.
Like
they're trying
to my humble abode, a thorn in my side. Like, who talks like that?
They think they're ribbing wrestling. They're ribbing themselves. They're wasting time, and they're not making any impact, and they're not making a legacy. They're not applying themselves, and they're not playing to the height of their intelligence, and they're not playing their art at the highest level. It's like going to fucking Juilliard and graduating, and all you do is stand out on the street corner and play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. That's what they're doing, bro.
What was up with him delivering that line last night? Did you guys notice when he was delivering like the Elite Hunted line?
Elite Hunted.
He did it about 3 times. Like he went to say it, and then the mic kind of went out a little bit, and then it sounded like an audio issue, and then he went to say it again and almost looked like he didn't know the line or something. He conversed briefly with Callis, then he delivered the line on the 3rd attempt. I thought that was very weird. Did you guys notice that?
I think it could be a case of an EVP who had too much on their plate and didn't take care of their own business.
Could be.
That's what that feels like to me, because I've been in that spot and fucked myself over.
And I love this version of Kenny Omega. I've been very outspoken about. I think he's turning into an awesome heel. I like the way he's dressing now, the way he's talking. His work is fucking good. And I'm contrary to you on this one, dude, because I like Callis's stuff. I feel like that works for him because I think this guy's supposed to be cheesy. So I think he can get away with saying a cliche line like, "Are you just drunk?" Because I think that's like part of his presentation.
I agree that it is, and it's not good. It's not selling tickets. It's not adding to the scene. I know exactly what he's doing. I'm not saying he's just lazy and saying that line out there. This Young Bucks-esque, be good, kid. Hey, it's the biz, kid. That's just the briz, yes. Like, all that shit has jumped the shark. They all glommed onto that, whether it was Adam Cole when they were doing Being the Elite, when they were in New Japan, and that parlayed him into a job, Bullet Club, AJ, all of them. Bucks are the only ones that can really get away with that. And now it's been watered down to such a, like, even your dad's doing the joke. It's bad, bro. And it's somebody who's so filled with knowledge and charisma, handcuffing themselves, thinking that's getting over. It's not. Nobody's responding to it. It's not good. It doesn't serve the scene.
I got to put a little sunshine in this though, and brighten your day a little bit. I mean, I got to say I kind of like the match just because it was better than I expected. On paper, I thought it was an odd choice for Fyter Fest to have a cold match with Gallows against Kazarian. I get it that they have history and stuff, but we didn't know the match was happening. There was no build to this particular match. But I thought Gallows did well in it, and Anderson's very entertaining. Like, I was cool with the match.
I'm not with the booking though. So what's his gimmick? The Elite Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
The Elite Hunter would stay back in a sniper position to fucking pick his shot to take those guys out one at a time. When we were feuding with Conway and Buck, and we flipped Buck, and it was all heels versus them. That's what Conway did, was take each out each one, and you'd find Omar's headgear, you'd find Ali's flag, know that he took them out. So now we're just putting the hunter right in the ring with him. That's not how a hunter goes at his prey. It's calculated from a tree stand, fucking knows where the crossing is. So what he would do is see on the sheet, oh, Gallows versus Luchasaurus. This is my opportunity, right? And then he takes the shot, boom, wounds Gallows so Luchasaurus can go over and get the win. And the fucking babyface hunter, Kazarian, can do heel things to fucking hurt the heels. That's the whole game, not put the hunter in the ring with the fucking prey straight up. Because if you go in and you're a grizzly bear hunter and you don't have a gun or anything with you, you're probably going to get your fucking ass torn apart. And that's what happened in this match and killed the rest of it. You don't get to, after the grizzly bear rips you apart, you don't go, oh, back to the tree stand. That's not how it goes.
It sounds like from a storyline character standpoint, presentation, you know, you've got Gallows and Anderson coming out to the ring, and Kazarian should be ambushing them one by one and then taking them out. And there shouldn't even be a match, right? The match
goes to look for him, and you don't even have to see him take him out. You do 2 takeouts like that. Then on the third one, they're going to look for fucking whoever in the Elite. Who'd you just mention? Fucking machine gun. Fucking, and all you see is his jersey laying on the floor, super elite, with maybe a blood stain on it, and the fucking weapon, the pipe that got hit him. It was Kazarian in the hallway with the pipe. Do the fucking clue gimmick if you want, but we don't even have to see it. It can just be implied at that point. But instead, he's drunk.
Well, and that's why I said it's an odd booking choice on paper. Because really this is a no-win kind of match. I feel like if Kazarian would have beat Gallows clean last night, Gallows means less. And it's not like they took a lot of time building Gallows. And then if Frankie loses, kind of the wins out of everyone's sails on the thing. So I don't agree with the booking there. And I will say poor fucking Frankie, as good of a worker as he is, he needs his money back for that new gear. Did you see his outfit last night? Yeah,
I wasn't down with it that much either. Yeah. But I was even not more down with more terrible Dark Order punches, even from Johnny Hungry.
Yeah.
Dude, and then the guy who got knocked out and almost died in that one match, he's the big guy of call him, throw him in while I hit him. He's the one who gets to deliver that in this match. He's the fucking man. Okay, bro, that's your spot. I guess you're over. But two matches with terrible punch fundamentals. If we're exposing our business with that alone, combined with that promo, this is why I think this first hour was.
They trick me every week and get me kind of like Sting was doing with Team Taz.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it again. It was like, oh, motherfucker. Hangman's in there, he's bopping the heels around, Omega Powders, and then I see the Dark Order out again. I'm like, you guys were finally going to do it. It's like living in a nightmare. No offense to those guys, but just
I'll say
let Hangman fly.
I gotta say, because the bigger part of hour 2 were some of the debuts, but think about the early days in the parking lot. We're not hiring ex-WWE guys. We're gonna hire the hottest indie talent. Da, 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 da. Okay, they're all in there now. Here comes El Idolo. Hey, it's Christian, everybody. Matt Hardy, what's good, bro?
Daniel, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, Aleister Black, Bryan Daniels, CM Punk. What are you guys doing here? One afternoon. Miro, hey, pal, glad to have you aboard. Hey, by the way, Johnny Hungry, you're on Dark Elevation now, and we'll need you on Ring Crew next week if you wouldn't mind showing up for that. Dude, just as hypocritical and as belly blush as possible. And now you've got guys who are EVP indie darlings who are not used to dealing with sharks that they just let swim with them, bro. How are the Bucks and those guys going to try and come over on somebody who doesn't want to do business on that level, who's dealt with much, much bigger, monsters? It's going to be a scary and interesting time of who's going to be picking pocket. This is WCW TNA 2.0 as of this week.
There are a lot of similarities, but I don't agree with that psychology anyway of like, we're only going to use indie guys, because you can only get so far doing that, as we've seen. And to me, it's like if Maddie and I started a new fucking NBA team and we're like, guess what, guys? We're not going to trade any great players from any of the other teams. We're not going to take any of the NBA All-Stars. We're pulling all these guys fresh out of college. I'm going to get a high school player.
Right.
Fuck no. My team's going to get trounced. So they can't have that mentality.
But that's what they did while saying we're going to be victorious doing that as our business model. So now they have to.
They're learning that you can't do that.
Yeah, like the Seattle Kraken just had their expansion draft, and part of the NHL's expansion draft is you can, as far as the teams, you're allowed to put up specific players that you feel that you'd be willing to give up and draft or let get drafted. Yeah. Older player, larger contract, right? So like, but
sports works.
Right. But it'd be like then the Seattle Kraken going, nah, what we're going to do is we're going to go out to Kennewick. We're going to go to the WHL team. We're going to grab the 17 and 18-year-old Sasha Mutala, the one great guy out there. We're going to grab him and the rest of the team. That's our team. Like, and then they would suck. You're right.
And then expect them.
All I'm saying is you will probably never see Luther again on AEW Dynamite.
I won't complain about that.
Or the Librarians, or probably soon Chucky P, or probably soon or Chucky T rather. You can go right down the line.
A few people.
Yeah, you're not gonna. Yeah, and it's because you're gonna see Christian needs his time, Bryan's needs his time, Black needs his time. Like, thanks for helping us get her started. You'll see at least 30 non-contract renewals in the next 2 years.
Zip. Bye-bye. Well, somebody who was new to me, because I didn't see AEW last week, was Wheeler Yuda. As he teamed up here with, accompanied by the ring with Orange Cassidy, taking on Darby Allin, who was accompanied by Sting. For those who don't know who Wheeler Yuda is, professional wrestler from the Philadelphia area. He's worked in Europe, Japan. He's also wrestled right in the New York Wrestling Connection, Shikara, as well as he's just, I guess he got trained by the Dojo Pro. He defeated Gunnar Miller for the Dojo Pro white belt title, and lost it to Joey Janela. So he's a CZW alumni, Nova Pro Commonwealth Cup champion, Night 3. So it looks like he's had some experience, Ben. Are we happy to see this guy get an opportunity here on television?
Yeah, I saw him last week, and I go, how I'm going to like this guy is because his tights weren't clean. They were dingy. They had road miles on them. I knew he was going to be halfway decent. And this week, he reinforced that 100%. I thought he was the best wrestler on the show. I'm not bullshitting you. I thought this guy has it. He's got a great look. As far as body type being part, is he Japanese or what? I'm not really sure. What Asian?
Philadelphia, but that's all I know. I didn't really.
Yeah, that's why I know he's stateside, so I don't want to be like, well, that's a New Japan swap and da da da. But like, they don't really put it out there. But this was him versus
Darby Allin.
Darby, and on the outside we have Orange Cassidy with Stinger, and usually wrestle crap wise, there's a spot for it, and they've overdone it. People were shit on it. I laughed at the Sting spot because we knew we had to do something. So we stopped the match, and they're even putting focus on it, which I didn't have a problem with after doing great technical wrestling. And we just took a little break for comedy here, and it fit in and it worked. And it was back and forth, and we knew it was repetitious. I didn't laugh, and then I laughed super hard because he gave Sting the out, and Sting it did his little crow thing in a way that was in Darby Allin's world. Up until that point, Sting was just playing in the world. At the end, he took the world over and made it his with just a little chest thump. I fucking laughed hard at that, bro. And then boom, right back into the finish. The spot was done. And I thought we were going to go into the finish of that. They did a dip and then they took it home, which was good. I was fine with it. And I thought this was my favorite match of the night.
I agree. This is the only time that I've ever been cool with Orange Cassidy doing his spot during a serious match. Because I get fucking hot all the time, like when he's in there with Pac and trying to do that and Pac doesn't rip his head off. But because they were on the floor and it was Stinger, so you had the juxtaposition of Cassidy and Sting, just all the differences there, and Sting played along very well. Even though they didn't get physical at the end. And then we got right back to serious wrestling, which we don't see happen a lot. So I like the spot. I thought it was well done. First
and
thing
you should highlight Orange Cassidy. We've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going on. One little thing, back to it. Not overexpose and like we got to play the game into all this other shit.
Because I loved Orange in this segment. I could have done without his match with Blade.
I agree.
But if I was a fan and just watched that part, I'd be like, holy shit, this guy's great.
Mm-hmm.
Until I had to see the match. But first thing I thought of when I saw Yuda was your comment about the gear. I was like, yeah, homeboy's gone some miles. He did great. Him and Darby worked well. Bro, this reminded me again, this was a WCW Cruiserweight match where you get this frenetic pace, but with technical abilities, like when Malenko would mix it up with Rey Mysterio, where you're getting your high flying, you're getting technique and good psychology. Yuda just needs something to hang his hat on. Like Jenna was asking me to explain him, like, what he does, where he came from, because she hadn't seen him. There's nothing you can say to that. Like you can't say, well, Hamin does the hacker or the insurgent. It's gimmick.
What is
really it? You can't explain him. So he needs to find that thing that you can hang your hat on. Say, oh, he's the dead man. He's fucking the hangman, Stone Cold, whoever the fuck he is. But from a wrestling standpoint, he's good.
I think the last name is right there. You just got to get the crowd chants going for Utah. You know what I mean? Or Utah, anything you want to do and get it over. And he needs a spot. And then I think they'll be behind him enough to give him a little bit of push. I don't think you need a big storyline or a moniker. I just think a couple crowd plants to get that crowd fired up would be fine. What was next, Maddie?
Yeah, following that, we had the post-match Blade attacking Orange Cassidy, Sting taking exception, and then they showed a video package promoting the main event between Moxley and Lance Archer. They also showed that they had Hikuleo in the audience. I guess it's a wrestler. I don't know what that is. AEW Women's Championship match was next. Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero taking on Britt Baker, the champion, accompanied by Rebel. These two went back and forth. Winner, still AEW champion, Britt Baker, as Nyla nailed Britt with a forearm at the end. Rebel distracted the ref. Britt got tossed the belt, and then she tried the Eddie trick, but Nyla turned the table and hit her beast bomb. Britt kicked out, and then she managed to get Nyla in the lockjaw, and she tapped. So, what do you think of the match, Silvio?
I was very into the show till about midway through this match. They started losing me a little. Poor Britt, really, is all I can say. This Nyla, I don't think is the right opponent for her first defense because I don't believe it's good for either of them. And you needed to give Britt a better story. This started over hamburgers. Britt's coronation ceremony, they're going to do a toast with burgers, and Nyla throws the burgers everywhere. That's how it started. And she powerbombed her through a table. They had a weird tag match with Vicky. But there was no kind of like emotion or build. And the whole time we don't know as the audience who we're supposed to like and dislike. They kind of booked Nyla as a babyface in this scenario, even though she's a heel and Vicky's definitely a heel. So I don't think the crowd really knew how to react. It wasn't the right opponent for Britt. And for Nyla, I mean, I got to ask you, she tapped out last night to Lockjaw. Is that it for Nyla? Is there any coming back for Nyla?
Well, this whole match was worked terribly and incorrectly. from the jump. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say before you go in, I just thought it would have been interesting since her whole Britt Baker's whole thing over the last couple of weeks has been taking subtle jabs at WWE. I think it would have been good to, like, I don't know, break the chair, use the bar, and that's how she just tapped her out. But anyway, I just thought that because that was the theme this whole with the WWE and Roman Reigns and the Edge thing. I thought that would have been a nice little touch. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, Ben.
It's all good. Dude, why wouldn't you watch Awesome Kong versus Gail Kim? Same exact match. I mean, let's forget about and go over the fact of don't dead name me or whatever the fuck, and that I have to believe that this is a woman fighting another woman, because it's not. And because that underlying premise is there, that alone should keep Nyla Rose strong for 90% of this match. It was 50-50 worked. Nyla's on the ground most of the time, going back and forth with Britt. He doesn't look strong. And then Nyla Rose, the beast, is got to do the Eddie Guerrero spot because Vicky's with her to cheat to win. A beast has to cheat to win. No, a beast is strong and goes over, especially when you're really a man, and you should be able to do all of the spots and base and power better than any of the rest of the women on the roster. So doesn't even know how to work her own match, or wants to work 50-50 to prove that she is a woman and effeminate like everybody else, which nobody believes that either. So right from the jump, every story we're trying to tell because we have to toe an SJW line, or because we don't actually know how to book ourselves and work, because again, we're another indie worker who really doesn't get it and wasn't trained for TV. That now this match doesn't mean anything until the finish, where the beast gets sugared and mandible clawed to go over on after a jump up that really wasn't needed by any means. So this whole match, like Silvio said, wrong opponent, but okay, even if it is the wrong opponent, that opponent doesn't know how to get themselves over or do business in the right way to get the champ over. Britt's on the breakout of being a big baby face, even though she acts like a snotty heel. Well, to do that would be to get heat on Britt, so when she wins, the crowd is pumped because they're really behind her, and she can stand up and do DMD over your body as you're selling your mouth and in your whatever as Vicky hobbles out with you. This was a bad agenting, and thankfully nobody got hurt. Like that's really all I care about. That Britt got out of there without getting injured.
Mm-hmm. And it had its good moments. You know, Nyla did some things well. Britt's a fucking star. Reba was back last night, so that was cool. Their dynamic is awesome. Just bad pairing for this. And I mean, sometimes I think you think a little too much into the political end of wrestling and the SJW and stuff. Like, I think you're thinking a little more than most people watching the show, myself included. Like, Nyla just should have worked like a big woman would work. Like you said, Awesome Kong, or fucking if Genocide were to work Serena. That was it. Like, and everyone could have suspended believability, despite whatever gender Nyla is or is not. She works like a big woman.
Surface, it's still right there. It's the conversation. And to not acknowledge it says one thing of like, you're not more, you're just like, I'm going to do this and follow these rules that they set for me. Otherwise, you have to go, this is really an intergender match, and this dude should be kicking the shit out of this girl regardless.
But I think it's only a portion, a very small portion who would think that way.
I think it's a small portion who go along to get along with the cool kids club, who don't question it from the jump, that they don't see that that's a man versus a woman in the ring right there.
Maddie, do you have any problem seeing Nyla as just a big woman wrestler, a la a fucking Kong or somebody like that?
I feel like that's how they should have. They tried to build her, like they started to kind of start that when she came in, right? I mean, because her whole thing was they publicized it that she was an openly transgendered, either post-op or pre. I'm assuming post-op. She's fully changed. I'm not sure. That's not my business to know. But that she's transgender herself. So like they kind of pushed that. But then they didn't really do anything really pushing her. And then now they've got her doing this thing with Vicky Guerrero and this reverend minister guy or whatever on Being the Elite, where they're stealing people's clothes and stuff and selling it for money. And they're all dressed as nuns. And So like, I don't know. I feel like her character's already been devalued. Like I think
But when you're watching her wrestle, do you have any problem suspending the disbelief, that you're watching anything other than a big woman versus a smaller woman?
Yeah,
that's what I feel like.
Yeah, no, I like when I watch her, I don't view her as a man wrestling. I watch her as like a big woman wrestling. Like she should be like an awesome Kong, if you will. I'm not saying she's the best wrestler.
Right, she's not.
I do view her as a woman, I guess you might say, when she is wrestling for sure.
So there's a vote right there. I mean, on this show, we got 2/3. I'd be interested to hear other members of the audience. So maybe that's more accurate. Maybe it's a third of the audience, half of the audience.
When she comes down with the fucking Rikishi flapped over her hog to fucking cover it, to do that, you're now pushing an agenda, and you're now making me or anybody else go, you will respect this transgender person as a woman, and don't think you can even say the other way to say it's an intergender match, because then you are a goddamn racist Nazi. All that is underneath it as soon as she walks through the fucking curtain, bro, and there's no denying it.
There is denying it. I'm denying
it. There isn't. Like the conversation is there, and you have to go the other way, is because it pushed you that way to either accept or fucking be vilified.
Stevie Richards says you can't get enough about talking about wrestling.
I love it.
All right. So following that, there was a press conference that was held earlier in the day for next week's tag match between Santana and Ortiz versus FTR. FTR says they respect them as wrestlers, but not as men. Santana reveals pictures and documents belonging to his mother. Dex says all he cares about is God, pro wrestling, and family, and they're going to take Santana out. I thought it was interesting. Like, I kind of felt like this was like, it started off like a South Park parody. I do respect you, bro. I do respect you. That's kind of how I felt it was. But what'd you think of the, I guess, press conference? Rocket Man. That's you, Ben. You're Rocket 27.
Oh, yeah, this was bad too. Hey, we're from poor, just like you are. We worked our way up, and all I care about is God, wrestling, and Cheetos, or whatever the fuck he said. And then the Latinos stand up and go, we might respect you, but we came up, and when you guys were over there in WWE whacking off, we were here since day one. The company's only 2 years old. Big fucking deal. Then the other guy stands up and has pictures of his fucking abuela in his goddamn vest, ready to pull out to do a Gallagher prop bit. This is trash, bro. Compare this to what LAX was doing in Impact with the training day segments. Oh my Lord, that shit was brilliant. And we got this fake UFC shit, so we can then have the Nightmare Factory trainees run in and do a pull apart like they're ready, set, go get them now, boys. This is, again, playing backyard wrestling with a top-level wrestling staff and not using anyone the right way. Maybe DDP's fucking editing crew didn't have time to actually do the pre-tape, so we had to just do this setup. I don't know. But this stuff is wrestling cringe, in my opinion, bro.
Like, if they were going to like push the whole, family style, each has their own love of their family, God, etc. I don't know. Go on location, shoot this in a park, in a barbecue or something, press conference.
Hey, maybe shoot it at home with your fucking family in the backyard while you're talking to them, and show each people's house. Even if you got to go to not a mansion, you want it to look like working class shit. But this is an imitation of UFC with plotty, predicated promos, and that didn't get anybody over anywhere. And then we do a sight gag bit with pictures. We're done. Thanks for playing. You guys carry pictures around with you anymore? If you were to have a picture printed out on film, a photograph, what would you probably do with that? Would you carry it around in your pocket, or would you take your phone out and take a picture of the picture to show people? Because you're probably going to have your phone with you. Or do you carry a photo album on you at all times?
I don't carry a photo album on me at all times.
There's a shot that if you're a man in 2021 and you're at least our age or older, you may have a pocket-sized photo of somebody in your wallet, perhaps.
Maybe.
But I think I stopped doing that maybe 6-7 years ago. That was an old school thing. We used to put a fucking picture of whoever, your girl, fucking your nephew, your niece, whatever, in your fucking
sister. My little sister, that's it.
Now, if he was a worker and opened his vest and had his own 8x10s in there, ready to pull out and sign with a Sharpie, then I'd believe that shit. But whatever this is, we're playing wrestling again.
All right.
We're playing wrestling. We're not a real company.
This segment, I had no idea what they were doing. I didn't know what it was. And when it was over, I didn't know what happened. I just looked over dumbfounded because first you start realizing, okay, I guess this is supposed to be a mock press conference, but there are no reporters. There's nobody there holding microphones for anyone. There's no pictures being taken. It's clearly a quiet room. So this is not a press conference. We know that. And Santana, I like watching his promos and his development. So I'm sitting there starting to, lean in because he pulls out, I don't give a fuck about the sight gag, but it resonated with me what he was saying. He's like, my mother had to do this. This is so we didn't have to live in a house full of roaches. And then I'm like, oh shit, he's going somewhere. He's about to drop a deep emotional promo. Then out of nowhere, it cuts. Santana had been standing, delivering a line. We get a weird Kevin Dunn cut, and he's seated. And now the impact is on Harwood, who's saying there's only three things I love: God, boxing, and pro wrestling. And then that's it. Then they go home. What was supposed to happen? And why did they cut Santana off abruptly? You guys bitch about production woes on the show. This is the only one I can remember in recent knowledge that got me legit hot. Like, I don't know what happened. This
whole segment looked just like crap. And especially after I just think about how brilliant those LAX training day things were. And this is where we are. Or you driving in your truck that you can't start with a squirt gun on the back, squirt the guys. Like, come on, man.
Was there production woes in this?
I mean, nothing you guys have already not pointed out already. I thought that the camera work could have been a little bit better as well. I just like the droll of a press conference inside of somewhere with a cheesy backdrop or whatever, the podiums, chairs. I'm over it. Like, if you're like, I would have liked to see them do at least something on location, go outside, have a barbecue or something. And then, you could fight each other out there. I don't know.
If you're going to tell this story, they actually did it in NXT in a pretty good way. What's the dude in Undisputed? Roderick Strong. I didn't know about, Trailer Park Life, and I guess his dad killed his mom or what have you, something along those lines. And it was like a real, like he would be left at home for days at like age 11 sometimes by himself. Jesus. If you're going to tell that picture story of let's go through the timeline and see little LAX and show where we came from the 1-bedroom apartment and, the whole Ghostface Killer fucking song.
I need to do better storytelling for sure.
All that I got is you. Buy the fucking whole rights to Ghosts song and retell the whole thing and show the montage of all that. Not in a UFC press. Dude, I can't wait for the next UFC press conference when a guy starts whipping out his photo album and shows his high school graduation pictures and shit like that. It's going to be some really good stuff.
Also,
Booker of the year. Best Booker of the year.
Santana never got his point across.
No.
He introduced the subject and never elaborated on it. And at minimum, as a professional producer, how you can't see the lack of continuity from shot to shot. Just in a millisecond, a person is standing, and then as you cut to the next shot, he is now sitting, and time is not supposed to have elapsed. Like, as a pro producer, how you could let that come out, it just boggles my mind.
Yeah, no, that's true. Even I'm not going to say I'm some high class, producer. I think I'm good, but from a film standpoint, I have very little experience other than doing some personal stuff. But even this last weekend when I filmed it with my friends, we had my buddy who was playing two different characters. And I was like, no, make sure you're wearing the same shirt. Like, so that way in the shot, there's some continuity. So like, if I can do that at the basic level, there needs to be that at the professional level.
Well, say what it is. I'm not trying to, I don't know who they got backstage in immediate, but stuff like this is probably getting cut up by DDP's team. So is this interns who just got in from power washing who now get to jump on Premiere, and do that, who don't have that skill set? Or is it just more laziness?
Because Santana said more. He didn't say, and here's the newspaper clipping of my mother, and then just sit down. He fucking finished the promo. But God knows what he said.
I don't know. Well, there was a press conference after that. I'm sorry. Tony Schiavone introduces Andrade El Idolo to the Fort Worth crowd. Andrade comes out with his associate. Andrade tells the crowd Tranquilo, which is, I guess, a New Japan thing, right? And AAA thing. He has a surprise for everyone.
It means calm down in Spanish.
Right.
That was his thing in WWE too for like a minute. And the only reason it got over is because they said it a shit ton of times in Narcos. So,
okay.
So they're not even doing the Narcos bit the right way with El Padrone to shoot him and protect him the right way.
I know that he was also saying it when he was doing, like, I guess prior to WWE, he was also in AAA, right? With Los Ingobernables, and then there was like a faction that was in Japan, Los Ingobernables de Japón, kind of like a spin-off of that as well. So I know that he's been using that for a while. So I thought the crowd would have popped a little bit more for that statement, but they didn't really react to it, did they? So he just says tranquilo. He says he has got a surprise for everyone. The associate speaks with Tony, who introduces Andrade's new executive consultant, Chavo Guerrero. There's some big Chavo chants. He says, wow, of course you remember he's from Dallas, Texas. He hears AEW is the place to be. What a great time to be a wrestling fan. With all due respect to those talented men in the back, Chavo doesn't see anyone as talented as Andrade. Out comes the Death Triangle. Alex Abrahantes. Pax says last week he heard their name in Andrade's mouth. He says, let it be known, Death Triangle hides from no one. Andrade thanks them for coming. They may be good, but Andrade is great. He speaks Spanish to them by saying, I'm an elite superstar. Chavo explains it to Pac. He says that they're all talented, but when he looks at their waist, it's not shiny enough. But they want to change it. Andrade has a question. He asks Phoenix and Penta why he works for Pac. Now you work for Andrade El Idolo. Pac's not sure what planet they're on, but Death Triangle is a team. Phoenix backs that up with Pac. They say they're the real face of Latinos. Penta gets on, speaks in Spanish, and then Alex tells him that Penta says, why would they join a group with Andrade when he's not even on their level? Andrade taunts them as the officials come out and then kind of keep them separated, or a little late.
Huge pop right there, bro. That's good. That's
like this all late.
That's fucking funny, bro. That's fucking funny.
That is good. Did you get through the end of this segment, Matty?
Yeah, Chavo Guerrero, by the way, I just want to point out, met Chavo Guerrero, hell of a guy, super nice. Anyway, go ahead.
So I was with it at the beginning. Andrade said one line, and then I was excited to see Chavo. It's a much better fit to have Chavo than Vicky. And I go, fuck yeah, they're finally getting shit right with Andrade. They're getting him a good mouthpiece, and it's a Mexican wrestling legend. Chavo's funny, he's entertaining. This is awesome. And then it just goes on and on and on. And they have Andrade try to deliver too many lines, bless his heart. But you already got Chavo out there now, so have Chavo do most of the talking. And it just dragged. It dragged painfully long. Like, I've been involved in these kind of segments where when you're out there, you're like, this is dragging. Yeah. You gotta fucking get through this. But what I would do to fix it all is I would do Narcos. I would fucking have Andrade speaking in Spanish with subtitles, and also put the subtitles up on the screen in the venue so people understand it. He delivers one line in English at the end of the promo.
White box, make it look all style.
And then have Chavo speak English when other information needs to be given. But I don't think we even need to try in 2021 and the cinema and media that we know now today. We don't even need to try to make this guy learn perfect English in a couple of years, because it's hard, and he has an accent that's completely different to ours. So it's double hard. So fucking give him subtitles, let Chavo talk.
Yeah, it always bothers me, or I wouldn't say bothers me. I always just found it questionable that you align a manager with someone, but then don't utilize the manager fully. You know what I mean? It's like some people it works with, I guess you might say, like if you look at like a Paul Heyman and CM Punk, you put that together. They didn't really need to put Paul Heyman with CM Punk. CM Punk didn't need a mouthpiece, but that added the credibility to CM Punk in that case because it was Paul Heyman. In this case, Chavo does add the credibility to Andrade, and he should be the one, as you're just mentioning, fully speaking. It shouldn't be passing the mic. It should be Andrade being that superstar, whispering into his ear, and then him talking for him, kind of thing.
You cool with him speaking only in Spanish, Hamin, and getting subtitles?
Absolutely. That's going to free him up so much to emote.
Right.
Right now, the words are holding back. He's thinking, he's in his head. He's thinking. You'll never reach being in the moment if you have to do that until it becomes a primary language or a secondary language that you speak fluently. So, right there, we're never going to get the true performance that he's capable of. So they definitely need to protect their investments more. Chavo comes out for the Texas babyface Guerrero pop. Good move, and I you know, it looks great too. But then he starts to heel on Pac and then doubles back because he knows he's supposed to be the baby. Like, no offense, but your waists aren't shiny enough. And like, and that's not, I don't mean that as a bad thing. It's like, what are you doing? Heel on him and fucking go in. Like he chopped his own legs out from underneath him. So again, my favorite part of this is the big wide shot. Everybody's standing there faced off. Tony Schiavone's over in the corner of the ring leaning on the goddamn fucking jeans. It's just 2 earrings in and leaning there. All he does is come out, hold the mic until somebody steals it from him, and then he fucks off, bro. Like, that's his whole job pretty much at this point. So I don't know why people don't want to be interviewed by Schiavone, but so be it. So now this was a lackluster segment that should have been way more big time.
I mean, you're a New Yorker. I imagine you've probably picked up at least some Spanish throughout your life.
Poquito,
yeah, a little basic. You've done stand-up. Imagine how hard it would be for you to try doing Spanish stand-up.
Try it. Right. It'd be brutal. Like, to think about where I'm in there in my words, I get the joke all down in English, then translate it, try and get the Spanish memorized so I'm saying things right so I don't sound like an asshole, then try and hit the timing and then inflect emotion on it. And dude, just to get to the Spanish memorization, to get there, I'm patting myself on the back, let alone what it really takes to be a high-level comedian, you know? So,
and that's only one joke. Imagine getting through a whole set of multiple jokes. That's what we're asking Andrade to do. Let him fucking talk in Spanish. You know, he got Chavo now perfect. Chavo.
And I'd also say this. It's on him. If he wanted to come stateside and be the superstar that everybody claimed he was going to be, should have showed up with a full Mavis Beacon, Rosetta Stone. Should have, year 1 in NXT, should have been taking English as a second language, then taking English college course. And WWE would have paid for all that, and it would have shown them that he wanted to be the superstar that he could be for 2 fucking countries. Did he? Nope. I'm going to sit around and finger bang blondes all day and fucking think that I'm over. And guess what? Still not doing the work to get myself over to the top of the food chain. So how's that going to work out for you? If being the superstar of the world meant going to Mexico, guess what? Every person who was John Cena and whatnot, that's why he learns Mandarin. That's why he learns fucking whatever it takes to get. That's why when WWE calls Santino Marella and goes, "Hey, can you speak Italian?" Prego. And fucking on the plane there, in the 4 days before he knew he was going to be Intercontinental Champion, he's learning everything he can Italian-wise to try and get to that point. If they needed him to speak fluent Italian, I'm sure he would have. That's work ethic and seizing the opportunity.
Do you think Charlotte's got like the little translator thing in her ear so she can understand what he's saying? Or
I mean,
she says he's learning English, so, and they have to be able to communicate. So I'm sure they're both picking up each other's language.
They can communicate through emojis and selfies at the gym. That's far more important.
But clearly he does not have polished English speaking skills.
Not quite there. Well, next week we've got Christian and Jurassic Express announcing they want to end the HFO, the Hardy faction, for good in a multi-man tag action.
I kind of hope they do.
And we've also got QT Marshall. He wants an apology next week from Cody, and next week in Charlotte, he's gonna get one.
I thought he was apologizing to Tony for dumping a protein shake on his head.
Get that. I just got that he wants an apology next week from Cody.
I thought he was supposed to apologize to Tony. I mean, did you see this promo?
It was so forgettable that I don't even remember already. I just remember QT sitting there in a Tony Soprano shirt, and I was zoned out going, why did they give those girls 20 minutes to work 50-50 when that should have been a fucking beast match? And it's really not girls. And then I'm like, oh, and what are these Mexican guys saying? Oh, they shouldn't have mic time. Cool, let's give them more. So by the time we got around to this promo, I was like, please, somebody dump a fucking shake on my head so I can apologize for liking this shit.
But hey, we'll find out next week. Either QT's going to apologize to Tony or Cody's going to apologize to QT.
Somebody's going to get an apology.
Well, match for the Blade with the Bunny versus Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy didn't come out of his entrance as the match started. He blindsided by coming off the top and taking him out. Those two went back and forth before they went to break. Came back from break, wrestled some more. Bunny presented Blade at the end of the match with some brass knuckles. He swung and missed twice, and Orange Cassidy connected with the Orange Crust for the win. Winner, Orange Cassidy. And then he put the brass knuckles on and nailed Blade with another orange punch.
That's a mistake. That's a mistake.
The baby faces always get an extra heat after the match.
I
That is
agree,
how
it was a
2021
mistake.
works now.
I want to see if we're on the same wavelength as to why it was a mistake. Why do you say it was wrong?
Well, it makes because he didn't get Orange with the knuckles, so it's not a payback thing retribution wise. Now Orange Cassidy's picking up weapons to use them in a ha-ha spot to get over and bury the heel. So take away all of his heat, and it's a babyface getting heat. So that means he goes from neutral good to being able to cheat and do shitty things when he should be the most lovable guy. Where, if anything, it should have been who was the girl that was out there with Orange? Stratlander, after taking the gimmick, right? She should have got the knucks and gone at Bunny, and Bunny chicken shits out of there. That would have been about the only fucking spot I would have done with the babies after that.
See, I would have had Orange use them, but I would have had him use them as the finish. Blade's been knocking him out with these knucks for several weeks now. So at least they've had continuity to this story,
Right.
you know? So the obvious finish to me is Blade tries to do it again, and Orange ducks it, kicks him in the boot. He drops it while the women are distracting the ref. Orange puts the shit on, looks at it, Superman punch, boom, puts his hands in his pocket, falls down for the pin, turns around, Joe Cool, you know.
I agree with that. I agree 100% with that for the finish.
Retribution.
Right. But why wouldn't he do that and then do it when he does it afterwards? It's making a choice, a different choice. You know what I mean? I like it in the finish the way you just laid it out 100%. Great.
That's what it should have been. And like there was some good stuff. Pepper did a corkscrew tombstone and that crazy gut wrench power bomb onto the top turnbuckle.
Oh, dude. And it was safe, but it was scary as shit,
Yes,
bro. I was like, whoa. But then I was like, that wouldn't hurt too bad. And I'd rather be going towards the ground with my face towards the ground and my feet at the same time instead of over backwards, you know? So the bump down wasn't that bad either, but it looked fucking crazy.
I had to watch it twice. The first one, I jumped out of my seat. And then when I watched it back, I could see that he landed all right. He landed evenly.
Yeah.
Like, okay, at least he's not.
And Pepper's strong enough to muscle him, no doubt. So
he looked great. Did you see his physique last night? Fucking hell.
And I also like the work the knee. I thought I blew my knee out, get up, run around while the refs got him, and then fucking get heat on him right there. So taking time to work real heel heat. Pepper was doing really good last night, man. I was happy for him.
Yeah. And this was another match, too, that was just a bit too long. I would have been totally cool with this being 5 minutes. Like, why can't we have 5-minute matches sometimes?
It's going to be a knockout anyway. I mean, if it was going to be a knockout with the knocks, that it could be anything.
I was telling Jenna, man, when the match started, they didn't have Cassidy come out right away because he'd been hit with the knucks earlier in the night. So I was like, oh, is he going to be here? And I told Jenna, you know, it'd be awesome if Orange shows up behind him, hits him with the knucks, and that's the finish. And then I see Orange pop up behind him. I go, oh, shit, they're going to do it. And then they have a 15-minute match. Only for him to do it at the end. What was the business the whole time? What was the business the whole time? Orange putting on nuts and hitting fucking Pepper Parks.
Didn't pay it off in the payoff. Did it post.
That's all I needed to do. But I'm glad Pepper got the TV time and got to get his shit in.
Me too.
Backstage, Alex Marvez is with Chris Jericho, and Jericho reveals that next week against his match against Nick Gage, he's going to go to his Pain Maker ego. That's his New Japan style.
I thought this was good.
And the hat and the barbed wire jacket, or the spiked jacket, studded jacket. So he'll be going back to that. I thought that was pretty cool too. Then we go to the main event. Oh, I'm sorry. They also revealed Malachi Black will take on Cody Rhodes on August 4th. So they announced that match as well. Then the main event was the IWGP United States Championship match. Jon Moxley defending it against Lance Archer. With Jake Roberts, I'm out here to support my boy Lance Archer. Those two went back and forth with some kendo sticks early on. They were kind of brawling in the crowd, up into the stands. I think at one point Archer tossed a security guard into Mox. They got back on the ring. They went back and forth. They went to, I think he had a paradigm shift on the concrete onto Archer on the outside. Then the Archer answered the call, but he was bleeding, and they went to break. Came back from break, continued to wrestle around, and then at the end, We saw Mox going for a paradigm shift. Archer presented a fork, jabbed him repeatedly before chokeslamming Mox into the barbed wire. Mox could not answer the call, and we have a new champ in this last man standing match. Winner, new IWG United States champion, Lance Archer. And I guess next week Archer's also going to be defending it against Hikaru. What'd you think of this match, Silvio? Did you like them taking the title off Mox and finally giving Archer something to, I don't know, hang his hat on, maybe get a bigger push here?
I don't like Mox losing, but I did like the match. It was a spectacle. It was violent. It was real. They beat the shit out of each other. We had some blood. We had some hardcore. It was a fight. It was, what that match was supposed to be. As a viewer, I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see what they were going to do next. We got some cool shit. And, when they were attacking each other with the fork, especially Moxley's second fork attack and Archer using it at the back end of the match, that looked really fucking sadistic. They were going nuts. I didn't see why they were, going to have Archer beat Moxley until I realized the New Japan thing. So thinking about it rationally, Archer is probably able to tour Japan as he has been doing for years more, and Moxley's just having a child. So I'm pretty sure Moxley probably has very little desire right now to be bouncing back and forth to Japan, whereas Archer does already do that. So I think that could be the meaning as to why they did the title switch then, because they're doing Dynamite from from Moxley's hometown of Cincinnati in a few weeks. And he's going to be on that show, so it's not like they're sending Mox away. I think it was probably a logistical call by New Japan. I just don't want to see any more losses on Mox for a while, because this would be his third high-profile loss this year alone after he didn't lose a single time in 2020.
Hey, Ben, before you jump in, I have a question. I know it's different shows, so as far as from a viewership standpoint, keeping their attention flow of the show, it doesn't interfere. But it just strikes me as interesting that they would do this kind of main event hardcore style match when you've got Nick effing Gage on next week. Wouldn't you kind of want to hold that hardcore, maybe kind of whet the appetite that you're going to get Nick Gage next week, rather than giving them hardcore at the end of this show?
That's a good point. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if Nick Gage should even be on the show, to be honest with you. So I like this match because it was ECW hardcore done well and safely with the right amount of gig and the right amount of color and taking care of each other. The fast fork shots I'm not a fan of. The big hand job ones.
I loved it.
I don't hate them, but what I like in just working a weapon. So let's say I got the spike or a fork and it doesn't have blood on it or whatever, and I'm going to put it on Silvio. I want to fucking show. I want to show me moving it without killing him, and I want him holding it, or I'm going to put it in his mouth and then push it so it looks like it's coming through his cheek, and he'll grab my leg and give me a quick Iggy to go, that's far enough, and I stop, but I do it all slow, very slow to show the weapon. Whack, 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 whack. Nobody sees anything, and that what you don't see is the tines sticking out. So they have him right at the end of their hand, and he's just hitting them with the end of his hand. So it's not believable, because if he had the tines sticking out and stabbing him like a knife, you'd fucking see all kinds of puncture wounds all over his head. So their violence doesn't show up in how they do it in what's coming out. You know what I mean? The actual sell of it. So that's just my preference in how I use weapons. And I think slower is always better with that kind of stuff. So, because if you're really punching a fork into a guy's head, you're going to have all kinds of fucking dig marks. Well, where are they? They're not there. You're going to punch a guy in the face, right in the fucking eye 58 times. Why doesn't he have a black eye? Your punches are pussy? Because I can punch a guy in the fucking eye one time and knot him up. So, it's just those small things. But I really like this match, to be honest with you. And it is absolutely the right business to send the guy back to Japan to do the business, the father stay at home. I don't think this loss hurts Mox whatsoever. And to give him color and blood before Gage's shit, so be it. They're the ones who should have carte blanche to do that over Nick Gage coming in, which is a buddy favor booking. So be it. And I thought they really shine. I like this main event a lot.
Yeah, it was good, and Archer finally got over, or got put over
after the babyface kind of turn on him that really helped with American Top Team. and even Dan Lambert taking that bump after that big promo was enough to set him on the babyface path that the crowd wasn't like, fuck that, Lance Archer. Right. They're endeared to him, and even though they left it out there with blood, this has really helped get him up to a level where he should be, where he's kind of been up and down on, you know. So,
and to your point with the fork and the weapons, I mean, I like them both, and if I was working, I would probably work them similar to you. I also prefer to be more visual with stuff like that, but I think both look cool. Which is kind of like an underlying fucking theme of the show. Is like, that's the way that fucking I see wrestling, is that there's a bunch of different things that I think can all fit under the right circumstance.
Yeah.
So I was cool with
that. Works well for the crowd. And to me, a spot like that as a wrestler, because I know the tines are not, what he's doing is just hitting him with the end of his hand to make it look like it. If you're up in the fucking upper deck, you're not going to see the difference, but on TV you are. And if you're a worker, you are. So why even risk it for a biscuit? You know what I mean? It's that anybody could say our shit is that much more phony. Goes, they're not even sticking out the end. I mean, in the upper decks, it don't matter. But
a couple of archers looked a little fucking snug. He might, go back and watch some of his, bro.
Yeah.
Moxley got a little something.
I'm not gonna want to do that either because I don't know, because you can't control. Guys are sweaty. Even if they are sticking out a little bit and you start going too fast, something bad could happen right there, right? And I'm not trying to go into the bag and be like, dude, sorry, I fucking put a 4-inch scar in your forehead because we were sweaty and I didn't have the shit the right way and we were going too fast. Slower is safer. It's more visual, and it gives the guy time to like turn up his cell. If it's bang, 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 you're like, oh, okay, and then we're on to the next thing. You're not getting max value out of it. That's just how I see it. But it is Baskin Robbins flavors of violence, no doubt.
Here's the one problem I had with this match, and we haven't addressed this yet. It's 2021. I'm totally past the days of blood sharing. Any comments on them using the same fork on each other while bleeding? And the risk involved with that. I don't like it.
It's well, like it or not, what it does is it sets a shitty precedent for the indies to go, Mox and Larcher did it. Are you not like,
they've been doing that for since we were kids, bro?
I get it. But like whether it's Abdul the Butcher and Hannibal or whatever the fuck, right? That ends in a bad situation for somebody. Now in 2021, even if they're gonna do that, he should have fucking grabbed that one and like they should have made a rib out of it. Like he's gonna do it. Ew, throw it down and get another fork out of his fucking thing and then fucking go in on it. That at least sends the message and ribs the biz in the right way without risking each other. And like, because that's what you're doing. You're paying respect to like all the hepatitis C dark side of the ring stories by doing a spot like that and showing that we get it, wink, wink, it's wrestling, but I'm not going to fucking risk my whole family's future for that, you know? So, that was ignorantly missed.
I hope they're doing blood testing, for stuff like that. If they're both tested and they're both cleared of everything, then in theory, they should be okay. But if they're not tested, I certainly would not have them do it. Maddie, any thoughts on that? Sharing of needles on live TV?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. He pointed out that does sound kind of disgusting. Maybe they should, use different fork or something.
I wouldn't even eat your fork. Like if you took a bite of salad, I wouldn't use your fork to take a bite of my salad.
Come on.
I wouldn't. On neither of you.
Yeah,
I have a rule. If I wouldn't kiss you, I don't eat.
There's very few people I think I would like. I just hung out with my best friend that I've known for 11 years, and we were like out on a golf course getting drunk, and we were done. Like I was like, here, drink some body armor. Like I was sharing my drink with him.
Yeah,
that's my best friend I've known forever. I wouldn't just randomly do it with people I work with or anything like that, to be honest.
Would you share your drink with the bloody John Moxley?
No, I would not. I'm sorry. Get your own drink. That's your recap here, guys, for AEW Dynamite. I know you probably covered a lot of news on the Friday locker room, but there is backstage reports that saying Daniel Bryan has already signed with AEW itself. So I'm sure.
Week.
And a bidding war between WWE and AEW for Punk. So
get all that information on the Friday locker room, which was recorded with Ben Hamin. and Mr. Stevie Richards. Of course, one of our favorite shows here that you can check out on patreon.com/RussoTWC is Master Shoot Theater. And
yeah, well, old Nessie has those teeth, dear, and I made my sword from those pearly whites. Yeah. It's my night to bury Keith Lee, yeah. So, ballet, let's make it out of sight. Yeah! Come on, Goosey, get in here. Let's do the kick line.
Patreon.com/RussoTWC to get the full episode of Master Shoot Theater, as well as if you sign up, you'll also get the video version and then the animated video version that comes down as our main man Mandir has been doing a great job on that as well. You're also
They're awesome. If you haven't watched those Master Shoots, trust me, spend whatever the $4 or whatever it costs and fucking watch those.
Yeah, they're available
hilarious.
Patreon.com/Hamin Media Group as well. They are phenomenal. The highlight of my week, no doubt about it. But you said you showed Jenna, she popped, eh?
She loved it, dude. And Russo's laugh pops me every time because he can't control himself.
Me too.
Patreon.com as well /Stevie Ray TV. Tons of content up there right now. Also subscribe to him on YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so we're pretty close there, almost at about 700. Let's go to youtube.com/Stevie Ray TV. Also, check out on Spotify right now and Pocket Casts, and it will become available on more podcast outlets. Stevie Ray Radio. He does a weekly radio show every Saturday called the Stevie Ray Experience. I've got a couple episodes up there right now from both May and June, and then I'll also be putting those out on about a 48 to 72 hour delay for Patreon members first, but then it will be publicly free. As well as if you just subscribe to the podcast, you never know, I might just put out teasers, full episodes. So, tons of free content we're going to put out there, as well as to help promote his Patreon and Twitch. So go ahead and check that out. And then also check out, all of our sponsors. You can go to brosters.com, get yourself some Russo Bro coffee. Go to ZordosOliveOil.com, pick up some of the finest Greek artisan olive oil. ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin /Superstar Chris Silvio /BWO Stevie /SEG shirts and /AEW Dark Zone debut. I missed that. I didn't get to be here last week when Greek got that.
Oh, it's great, man.
On AEW. So
it's about 32 minutes into the show if you want to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it. I definitely watched it. Oh, yeah, it's a good match. So go check that out, as well as little personal advice I'd like to give the audience. I was on vacation, and one thing that I took away from vacation that I don't think I was doing enough was prioritizing personal growth. Like, I do a lot of good thing organizing like my workflow and getting my work done, but I haven't been really doing a good job like prioritizing my own personal goals and desires and growth from a production standpoint. So I've been writing all my things out like you have been. I got to look it right in front of me, all my things I need to do to the week. So just a small little thing you can do, just write out what you need to do. And it can definitely help visually, keep you on track.
That's the amount that you do. Like it's not the fact of even personal growth. You just don't want to let something slip through the cracks because there's so much, all the time.
Well, a lot of it is personal for me. I'd like to set up my own website, my own profile. I'd like to set up like a Fervor and an Upwork.
Gotcha.
Get extra work. I need to do 2 hours of After Effects training every week that I haven't been doing.
I need to learn Blender as well. That's something I'm fucking starting, and that's going to be like a 2-year endeavor to really learn Blender in and out.
So, with all that, I would just say, take some time for yourself, for personal growth, even if it's just small things.
Great.
In the long run, maybe when you're doing something during the day you don't like, at least you have something to look forward to, maybe when you get home. So that way, you don't feel like you're just waking up every day like a robot, going to work, coming home, and just falling into a rhythm that can be very cumbersome and can drain you of energy. But I digress. Mr. Silvio, what's going on in Florida? I saw we had Jenna and Troop rolling around in the ring. When is Troop going to show up on AEW Dark or NWA? What's going on? Give me the news. Come on.
Well, first off, I fully endorse those comments just made by MSG.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to wait and see. You think I'm going to announce some big fucking news like that willy-nilly fucking, out of nowhere, Tony Khan just booked next week's main event? We don't do that on this show. So, no, I'm not just going to throw out when Troop's going to debut. You're going to have to find out. It's going to be well publicized. But, yeah, he's kicking ass. Genocide's kicking ass. We're full gear right now in training mode for NWA 73 and NWA Empower, the first women's pay-per-view. August 28th, and then they're filming TV through August the 31st. So it's going to be nuts. From St. Louis, Wrestling at the Chase returns after well over 30 years. So that's what I'm excited about right now, and getting my team prepped and as good as possible to get those opportunities as soon as they can.
Ben Hamin, what do you have going on the road? Have you checked out my podcast?
Suck my balls, suck my balls.
You should check it out. You should go check out Suck My Balls. Anyway, go ahead.
I should check it out. In all of my free time, I should check it out. Maybe I will throw it on while I walk the dogs of war. But yeah, man, it's going down right now just on patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Appreciate you guys supporting us there. Just Russo really shelling out a lot of bucks out of his own $4 million kick up to get this Realm Premium thing done the right way. So we're pushing all systems go, man, and developing tons of shows, just meetings upon meetings of hopefully having top level talent where people are like, wow, they got them. Wow, they got them. It's not going to be AEW parking lot promo. All right? There's going to be big names to kick this thing off. So we want to make sure everything's aligned the right way. Appreciate everyone who ordered at cameo.com/Ben Hamin. Cutting promo has been a good time. Get me fired up. It was a good time at Titan this weekend. Seeing Frank and his whole family there, and my man Blaze Drum putting the beating down. I'll be in Rome, New York at Immortal Championship Wrestling with GGP and Blaze this week or next weekend. Only about 4 minutes from my house, which is awesome. And then after that, Messina, New York on August 1st. So the next night with New Breed up there, Blaze and I will be putting a beating on somebody. Now that's haram.
I'm totally stoked on that 2CW enamel pin that you.
Yeah, bro, 50 sold out within less than 20 hours.
Those pins, I'm telling you. 12. We need to start making. I'm telling you, pin. Like I actually just got this pin of Butters here from my sponsor, thebakedboys.com. So
very cool from Baked Boys. Big shout out to those guys, man. Big shout out to Road for the Roadcasters.
Ding dong.
And big shout out to ZordosOliveOil.com. I didn't get the hello in on there.
Talking away.
Anyway.
Ding dong. Hello?
She's out for 9 months, so we're only going to get her here exclusively on Light the Fuse, man. But you guys know all the sponsors, whether it's Broasters Coffee. I know you guys really enjoy the hell out of that. It gets me going every morning, the Vince Russo Bro Coffee, and supporting local business owners instead of spending money at Amazon, where assholes will then make a giant dick rocket and launch themselves into space and not pay any taxes. But we're taxing that ass here, infidels, night and day as we light the fuse. You never know. It could be a hardcore pizza cutter match. It could be for the IWGP title. We'll do strap matches out of nowhere. That's just what we do here on Light the Fuse. YOLO!